Marathon weekend is over and here are my thoughts. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name's Lindsay, aka SwishWilly, and I talk about all things Disney. So if you're into that sort of thing, please make sure you hit subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. Today we're going to be talking about my personal experience during the Walt Disney World Marathon Weekend 2022. Alright, so the plan of action is we're going to start from the beginning of the weekend, starting with the runDisney Expo. You know that it is critical to go to the runDisney Expo as you have to go there to get your bibs, as well as that's where you go to find the much sought after runDisney merchandise. If you didn't catch it, I went live on my channel on the first day of the runDisney Expo. I got there around 8 a.m. and there was already a line around the building. Mind you, when I got there, they hadn't let anybody in yet. Once they decided to let some people in, which was roughly around 8:25, we walked into the building to more switchbacks. So instead of being looped around the building outside, you're inside in a switchback. I'm gonna pop that live stream up in the corner up here so you can check that out after you watch this video, just so you can see what it's like on the first day of the runDisney Expo, first thing in the morning. Like I said, the runDisney merchandise for the Walt Disney World Marathon Weekend is always a high interest item, which means everybody wants something. And a lot of times you kind of go in blind because although Disney does announce kind of roughly what the new merchandise is going to look like, you really don't know the exact variety until you get there. So we usually know there's going to be marathon jackets, all that stuff. You don't really know what it's going to look like until you walk in the door. So it is good to have a game plan, but be mindful that that game plan can change based on the variety of items available. Now, my personal plan of attack when I go into these expos is I check out the things that I know are there that I'm going to want. So in my case, I really wanted that Spirit jersey and I really wanted the Magic Band. So those were the two things I popped into my cart, or my basket, right away. Next up, after I knew I wanted those items, I decided that, to be fair, I was gonna go to my runs specifically. I don't believe in buying merchandise for a run you didn't do. So I'm not that person. I'm not going to be that eBayer that buys two of everything just because that's my limit and I'm going to put an astronomical price on eBay. Not fair, because there's a lot of runners who can't get there on the first day of the expo. So leave the stuff for the runners. So going back over into this, so I was running the Goofy Challenge. So I myself was like, okay, I'll get Goofy stuff, marathon stuff, and half marathon stuff. Simple as that. So I decided to go into the Goofy Challenge and check out what they had. I was extremely disappointed. So I don't know if this was done on purpose because there's not nearly as many Goofy runners as there are runners for specific races or the Dopey Challenge. So they could have easily just were like, we don't need that much because there's not that many runners, which kind of sucks. But basically the only thing you could get was a unisex t-shirt. Obviously you could get the magnet and the pins, but the unisex t-shirt is like a men's t-shirt. It's not all that unisex. There's zero tailoring to it, so it's very boxy. I did end up purchasing it, but I also returned it after I tried it on. And I'm like, this is not flattering at all, which was really disappointing because that green color, it was like this jewel tone green, or like just off of a jewel tone. Anyway, it was super nice. I was excited for it, but it didn't work. My number one thing is I really wanted the Goofy Challenge tank top. I was praying that they were gonna have it, and they did not. So I didn't end up getting any Goofy merchandise, which is kind of crummy. So then the next up, I was like, okay, let's go check out the half marathon items. Half marathon had pretty good stuff. They had your women's t-shirt, you had your men's t-shirt, you had the magnets and the pins and all that fun stuff. They did not have the tank top. So that was interesting to me as well. So, but at least they had a women's cut. I didn't end up buying anything off of the half marathon section just simply because I knew there was stuff in the marathon section I saw when I had walked by earlier. So when I went over to the marathon stuff, that's where things started getting way more chaotic. So they had the men's t-shirt, women's tank top, like a sweater. They had a lot of stuff for the marathon. After that, I decided I was gonna just have a look and see what the pass holder stuff was gonna look like because I am an annual pass holder. So I wanted to see if there was anything that I maybe wanted. So initially, I grabbed the magnet and I grabbed the water bottle without really even looking at it because if you know anything about runDisney, you put things in your basket. If you don't want it, you go and put it back. Then I looked up the Marathon Weekend merchandise. So there was a lot of Marathon Weekend merchandise, including the Spirit jersey, the Magic Band. There's also mug, which was weird. If you went to the expo, and you maybe would have noticed this, the exact same mug was like this deep indigo blue color, a little deeper than that. It's like between indigo and navy, but there were two different like shades. And I don't know if they meant to do that or if they went to two different suppliers or what, but one batch was slightly lighter than the other. So a little weird, but that's fine. I ended up getting the darker one because I thought the darker one was nice. They had iridescent colored tumblers, they like turvises out the wazoo. They had a whole bunch of stuff that you always anticipate. The Christmas ornament though, usually they were coming out with a Christmas ornament that was a running shoe. That wasn't there this year. It was just your standard little Mickey head ceramic thin ornament. And I'm not the biggest fan of those ornaments, so I didn't get one of those. But I was like stressed out. I didn't want to get buyer's remorse. I get buyer's remorse very, very easily. So I had to be very careful with what I got. I ended up getting the metal replica pins as well. Each run had 3 pins for it. So you could get either the I Did It one, you could get the run specific logo, or you could get the metal replica. So I always like the metal replicas. I think they're really cute. They had a lot of just Run Disney branded merchandise. So it was just your evergreen Run Disney logo. Usually it was on a black or a blue shirt, but they were pretty nice. A little too bland and quiet for my taste, but they were definitely there for those who might not be so, hey, I want Goofy on my shirt, or, you know. Some people like it more subtle, which is fine. Let's talk about the expo itself outside of the Run Disney merchandise. So in this, you're gonna find stuff like KT tape, you're gonna have the Fit to Run section, you're gonna have the Therabody, or whatever that Theragun thing is, which is phenomenal. Those things are awesome. And of course you had UFOs, which yes, I did purchase a pair of UFOs. The weird thing I found about this one was that everything was like Fit to Run. So there were about 6 or 7 different cashiers, which was great because you could really go anywhere within the expo and be purchasing something. But it was a little weird because you didn't realize it was all Fit to Run until you really realized it was all Fit to Run. One thing that I did really notice this time around was there was like next to no Nike merchandise. Usually they have a healthy balance of what they're bringing in. There was like nothing Nike, and I'm a very like brand loyal person, so I ended up not really buying much except for the UFOs, and I got some Body Glide and a couple of energy gels, just because I wanted to vary up my flavors. I had only traveled with 2. But yeah, so I was a little disappointed. There was like nothing Nike, which is really surprising because if you go to the Fit to Run store at Disney Springs, they sell Nike. So I'm not sure where that went. There must be a reason. I'm not really sure what it is though. Of course, there was the Aftershocks booth because Aftershocks was sponsoring the Marathon Weekend. On the first day, this building's busy. And on the first day, the entire expo is busy, so that building too is also busy. The quietest buildings are your bib pickup and your shirt pickup, which is kind of weird, but also not, because everybody is buying their merchandise. So everyone goes and picks up their bibs after. To pick up your bib, I believe it was in the HP Fieldhouse, but that was for mine. The Dopey Challenge was located elsewhere. But if you were running the 5K, the 10K, the half, the full, or Goofy, that was all in the HP Fieldhouse. Again, I ran the Goofy Challenge, so when I walked in, I literally laughed out loud because you had about 6 people handing out bibs for the 5K, about 6 people for the 10K, 6 people for the marathon, 6 people for the half marathon, and there was 1 person manning the Goofy Challenge. So that alone tells me there's not very many of us. Like I said, at this place, it was pretty quiet overall compared to the chaos that was happening in the other buildings. So I picked mine up, give me 2 seconds. The only thing that annoys me, and it's a very menial thing that does not need to cause any annoyance, but it does, is that you go, especially if you were in the buildings getting your like expo stuff previously, is that you go pick up your bib and then you have to go back into the expo building to get your race t-shirts. I mean, I get it. It's probably because of space. They can't have everything all at once. But, like, I don't know. That's the only thing that annoys me. It's like you're like, okay, after you go into the expo building, you're like, okay, I'm done here. I can leave the chaos and just have a nice quiet time going to get my bib and my shirts. no ma'am, you cannot do that. You have to go right back into the chaos building and go get your shirts. So I did have to go back to the expo on the second day because I had to return the goofy shirt that I got because it just looked ugly on me. And I also needed to exchange my race shirts because they were made a little bit bigger this year, I found, than in previous years. If you experienced that too, please let me know down below in the comments because I want to know if I'm alone in that. But yeah, so and because I went on day 2, I thought it'd be really interesting to see what was going on in the runDisney merchandise. So I did go back in there while I was returning and just had a quick look around to see if maybe I just wanted to exchange something. It was pretty depleted, and if you want to see what it looks like, I'm going to pop that right up here, whatever corner it's going to be in. But yeah, you can check out day 2 expo and what you can see if you were to go on day 2 versus day 1. Now let's backtrack a little bit. I was talking to some people who did the runDisney Expo on the first day. It came around noon or a little bit after noon, and all the spirit jerseys were gone already. In 2 hours, all the spirit jerseys were gone. So if there's something that you know is going to sell out, you have to go early. Again, I went at 8 a.m. and I feel like I could have went earlier, but I was comfortable. I was fine. Next year though, I'm gonna have to get there early because it's gonna be wild. And I'm planning to do the Dopey Challenge next year, in case you were wondering. Now let's go into the race days. So on both days, you obviously have your starting groups, which were formerly known as corrals. It's also a weird thing that until you get your bib, you have no idea what your starting group is going to be. So that's also different from years past where you kind of, once you got your bib number, you knew what corral you were in. So you knew how much cushion you had from the balloon ladies. But alas, you have less time to panic because you only find out when you get your bib. So the starting groups, honestly, it felt like they were running the same way as corrals, at least to me. I haven't been at a runDisney event since 2018, so maybe people who ran in between that noticed a bigger difference. But I found it was running pretty status quo. It was just starting group 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on and so forth, as opposed to corral A, B, C, D, you know, that kind of thing. Once we were in the starting group, I didn't find that it was overly congested. It just felt like a normal runDisney race, and as such, I made sure I was still wearing my mask. A lot of people were wearing masks because that's like, it could have easily been a super spreader event. I kept my mask on until I got out of that bottleneck for the race. So I did a healthy half mile at least with my mask on, which is fine. I can breathe through it. So not everybody can do that, but I did it just for my own safety. The weird thing that happened on marathon day while we were in the starting groups was they said that they wanted to do this like Guinness World Record, or they wanted to go viral on TikTok or something with like, you know that TikTok that makes you like, you go into the push-up stance and you go this, and then your feet, anyway. So they wanted everybody to do this TikTok challenge. I'm like, how on earth do you want everybody in these starting groups to get down in the push-up stance to do this? Everyone's cramped, so it didn't make any sense to me, but that was just a weird thing that I personally thought. I don't know. I don't know. If you also thought that was weird, let me know. Now if we're talking about the courses, I didn't personally think that the half marathon course changed that much from what I remember back in 2018. I'm sure something had changed, but it was pretty standard, you know, run from Epcot to Magic Kingdom, through the castle, back around kind of thing. That one was pretty good. I panicked a little because oh my god, I'm in over my head. I only had 3 training runs and none of them exceeded a 10K leading up to this, so there was that. But yeah, so I was like, oh god, I'm in over my head and I still have a marathon to do. I made it though. I'm here to tell the tale. Yeah, the half marathon was pretty good. I felt it was, like I said, it was pretty standard fare. I don't recall many changes, if any, from when I ran it last time. The marathon, however, was a much different course. The marathon, so normally you go from Epcot to Magic Kingdom and you're there probably by like miles 5 or 6. Like you go essentially the half marathon route and then they add things on the backside. So, but this time you went into Epcot and then over there. So by the time you left Magic Kingdom, you were like almost halfway done. So it was kind of nice though. Like I liked that. I liked that it was done almost pretty much by the time you got to the Grand Floridian, like Shades of Green area, you were at the halfway mark. And before, when you're like, oh my god, I just started because I'm leaving Magic Kingdom and it's like mile 7. This one you were already almost halfway done. So you knew the back half was going to be far more entertaining because you had 3 parks that you still had to do, as well as the boardwalk area. So that part I actually really liked. And again, the worst part of every marathon is the time you leave Magic Kingdom through to when you go to Animal Kingdom. It's a very long stretch of boring road. The last time I ran the marathon, we went through ESPN Wild Willy Sports. They took that off in recent years, so I didn't really know what to expect. I know most people hated it. I actually thought of it more as like a game. So like, let's say you come in at mile marker 16 or so, and when you come in and you go and you can see another mile marker off in the distance and it's like 21. You're like, how on earth? So there was like excessive mileage in ESPN Wild Willy Sports. I played it like a game, like what is this switchback kind of thing. So I thought it was cool. A lot of people hated it. They got rid of it. Instead of doing that, they brought you over to Blizzard Beach. But you don't even go into Blizzard Beach, so I mean, running into the parking lot was a little bit dull for me. That's just my personal preference. I would have rather do ESPN than go through a parking lot of a park. And I think that's just a teaser, so. But I know why they did it. Blizzard Beach is closed for refurbishment, so it's probably not the best looking water park to run through. Now, Animal Kingdom was cool. Usually on the marathon, people go and ride Expedition Everest if they get into Animal Kingdom when the park is open. I don't think the park was open by the time I got into Animal Kingdom, but also Expedition Everest was down for refurbishment. Nobody could have went on it anyway, but that is a really fun piece of the Walt Disney World Marathon that you can do. Then you come into Hollywood Studios. Now again, in 2018, in Hollywood Studios, you came in behind Tower of Terror, went down Sunset Boulevard, and then you hung a left, and then you ran down Hollywood Boulevard. This one was like, oh, we were in Hollywood Studios for a grand total of like 3.5 running minutes. And then you kind of go backstage, and then you pop out again at the front of the park, and then off to the boardwalk. Yeah, that was kind of like womp womp. Because Hollywood Studios is my favorite park, so I was really, really hoping that we'd be in there a little bit longer. Alas, we were not. But there were a lot of guests in the park when we got in there, so we got a lot of cheers, which was really nice. And once you get onto the boardwalk, it is the home stretch. You are almost done. You probably have about 2.5–3 miles to go by the time you hit the boardwalk, and that is probably the longest set of miles you have. For whatever reason, when you're in Epcot, you're like, how am I not hit a mile yet? I don't think people realize how massive Epcot is. But yeah, so that's kind of like your home stretch. There's a lot of guests in the park, a lot of people cheering you on. Whenever I came in backstage, Jeff Galloway was standing right there, which I thought was really cool. And he saw my name on my bib and called me out personally, so like, you know, oh, Jeff Galloway said something to me, being that nerd that I am. But yeah, and then you come into Epcot and you're done. Thank God. Because it's a lot. It is a lot. It was a really good weekend. So now it's time for me to show you a little bit of the merchandise. So I'm going to start with the stuff that Run Disney gives you with your race registration. So obviously you get your bib. Only people who were running the half marathon got this. It was the 25th anniversary of the half marathon. So everyone who ran that got this lovely baggage tag. It's cute. You can put your name on there. 25 years running. I actually have the 25 years running one from the marathon as well. Each run you do get a shirt that complements the race, but this was the half marathon one. That was really cute. There's the sponsors there, and it has the Run Disney logo on the side. Now here's the weird thing for me. There's Run Disney logo. Previous years had all the park icons of the parks that you ran through for that particular race along the sleeve. I missed that. I thought that was a really cool touch, and they did put it on it this year. So, and on the other sleeve, you have the Walt Disney World 50 logo on there because it is the 50th anniversary. Alrighty, then you have the marathon shirt. So it's this nice like raspberry color. There's the marathon. Same kind of thing. Sponsors on the back. Walt Disney World 50 logo here. The Run Disney logo there. And then you have the Goofy Challenge, which was this like mustard yellow. I mean, it's a nice shirt. The shirt itself is nice. This color looks terrible on me. I wish that they would have made it that green color that was the race shirt. because I'm not really sure where the yellow came from. Because the Oswald shirt, so the 10K shirt, was green. So I don't know where they were going with their coloring, but what can you do? Now let's talk about what I actually purchased. I purchased the metal replica pins. So this was the Donald Duck one. Here we go, focused in. So cute. And on the other side it is Daisy, but that means I'm gonna have to take it off. So then we had the Marathon pin, which was Mickey. There he is. Beautiful, beautiful. Then I got the Goofy Challenge because that's the race that I ran. And his thing is actually really fun because he spins around. But yeah, so those were the pins I got. But I did get the pass holder magnet. Sorry, it's kind of blurry. There we go. I thought it was pretty cute. That was the only magnet I got. I didn't get the I did it's or anything because I didn't know if I was going to do it. So I didn't want to give myself like a bad omen and jinx myself. So I didn't get those. But I did get the Marathon tank top, which I thought was really cute because this one did not say I did it on it, which was nice because again, I didn't want to curse myself. Then on the back of it, it says best race ever, which I'm not gonna lie to you, the marathon is the best race ever. So I got the mug and I got the magic band, but I left them both in Florida. Not in my hotel or anything. I'm leaving it there with my better half. He will not a lot of stuff for me. But here is the much sought after Spirit jersey that I was able to acquire. So I thought it was really cute because you have Chip and Dale here. You have Run Disney on the back in the iridescent colors with all of the characters for the races. And then it has the Walt Disney World logo and the Marathon Weekend 2022 in the iridescent color, which was really cute. The only thing I would have done differently if I was Disney making this, whenever I turn my arm in like this, I can read it. It's right side up to me, but it's backwards for people looking at me. And it's kind of one of those things where it's like if I'm walking, I kind of want to be like, bam, this is what I ran. So other people can see it. I don't know if other people think that that's weird that they made it so it's right way up for me to read when you look down at the sleeve. They obviously did it on purpose, but I think I just would have preferred it the other way. Now it's time for the medal reveal. So I'm also going to give you my feedback on these medals. They are beautiful. Do not get me wrong. Here is the half marathon medal, and as you can see, it does spin, and there's Daisy. These iridescent colors are like stunning on these. They're so, so pretty. Now this is the full. There we go. We have Minnie Mouse over on this side. The Goofy Challenge, where he spins around like the pin. And then on the back, it looks like this. Now, I'm gonna give you my feedback on this. Now my Donald and Daisy one is holding up really well. Now if you go over, I'm not the only one experiencing this, and I kind of wasn't surprised this was going to happen. When you paint on metal, it'll chip, it'll peel, it is what it is. Now I had these like wrapped in socks traveling, and if you look at the edging, it's losing its paint, you know? And then, is it this one? Mickey and Minnie are fine, but the iridescent colors are coming off on the edge. See? Some people's are peeling completely, so mine's actually in pretty good shape. Goofy one is doing all right. You can see a little bit of wear here. The problem is that because it spins, it kind of like hits the metal, so it's actually Goofy that's peeling it off. No other reason. Another thing though is if you look at his nose, the paint's kind of coming off right here. But the backside side's also peeling right here on his head. I don't know if you can see that. But yeah, other than that, like the medals are stunning. It's just, when you paint on the medals, it's bound to happen. Usually if you do have a faulty medal, you can contact Run Disney and they will send you a brand new one. I know that happened the first year they brought in the spinners. The spinners were completely breaking. They seem to have mastered it now. It's slightly a bit better. But yeah, so that is my review on Walt Disney World Marathon Weekend of 2022. I can't wait for the next registration for Dopey for next year. So stay tuned because I'm probably going to post the stressful day that is registration day. Same as I did previously. If you haven't checked that out, I'll pop it right here. Make sure you check out what it's like to register for a Run Disney race. Thank you for watching and have an awesome day!